Coming up on Tech Now, we hit the mat with the new MMA video game, keeping your phones and tablets safe in a mobile world. Why more car companies are coming here, making Silicon Valley the new Motor City, and how special effects help the tech industry dominate on Oscar night. From the Tech Museum of Innovation in the heart of Silicon Valley, I'm Scott Budman. This is Tech Now. Thanks for watching. We come to you this week from a very new, very cool exhibit here at the Tech Museum. It's put on by NASA, and it gives you a virtual tour of the International Space Station. It lets you see what the astronauts see, both on board the space station and out in outer space. A very cool way to get a look at something way up. I highly recommend it if you're in the Bay Area. The exhibit here at the Tech Museum through April 15th. And while we love space, we also love movies and special effects. And you may not have noticed it, but one Silicon Valley company dominated Oscar night because of special effects. When the movie Hugo won the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects, its crew was excited, maybe even surprised, to bring home Oscar. But Autodesk knew it would win. The Silicon Valley software maker was a shoo-in. All 5 nominees in the category used its software to create special effects.
You ain't from round here, are you?
Rango, which won the Oscar for Best Animated Feature, also used Autodesk software.
All those films are using computers at some level or another.
We spoke to Autodesk's Rama Dujanovic about how falling prices and ease of use is helping to put powerful software into the hands of filmmakers, both amateur and experienced.
We want artists to spend time making art, not trying to get through technical obstacles. So what we make our software, we try and make it easier and easier all the time and more intuitive so that artists can spend their time telling their stories and do a great job expressing their artistry.
Guys, let's go! From Best Original Song to short film animation, all these movies used Autodesk software. And the company says it's proud to be so built into the movie business.
So when you see somebody who started as like a compositor 10 years ago and now they're on stage with an Oscar, and you know they just had a kid and you're thinking about their family, of course it's that much more exciting and so much happier to see them.
Part of the tight relationship between Silicon Valley and Oscar. While on the subject of Oscar, we recently met a couple of techies who took home 2 Oscars this year. And they're not stopping with the movies. They're taking their craft from the big screen to a mobile device near you. It's a short film with a long title, but the fantastic flying books of Mr. Morris Lesmore brings a lot to the screen. Cutting-edge animation from co-directors who cut their teeth at Pixar.
We had heard of a movie being made about toys, and we knew that that was an exciting new medium to work in.
Then started their own studio, Moonbot, mixing film and tech.
So much stuff that we do now used to cost, a crippling amount of money. So we can make extraordinary, beautiful looking animation now anywhere.
Now William Joyce and Brandon Oldenburg are Oscar nominees, taking Moonbot beyond film and into apps. This is the app companion to their movie, a way to broaden the reach and bring in more fans.
And so we immediately started thinking about how our story could then translate itself into this touch-sensitive device. And it was important for us that we told the story, but in a new way that was specific for that medium.
Storytelling on multiple platforms, making this the future of entertainment.
That's like crazy science fiction Buck Rogers material right there.
And what's it like to get the call from Oscar?
All I can say is for 25 minutes I felt like maybe I was bulletproof. And then I walked out to my car and a bird pooped on my car and I went, yep, nothing's really changed.
It's hard to express in words. I just sort of like, yeah, it's a dream come true.
I thought there'd be some like cone of fabulousness that would protect me for at least a day or something, but no, nothing had really changed.
Speaking of Pixar, Cars 2 was the first Pixar movie not to be nominated for Best Animated Feature since the category was created. Whatever your business, you need security, and that makes security a very big business, especially here in Silicon Valley. You can spin this wheel and have a chance at a prize, maybe even a new scooter.
This is the one that scares me to death.
But when it comes to your personal information, you don't want to leave things to chance. You need protection.
And to safely enable those applications, we need a lot more security.
Which is why companies from all over Silicon Valley and the world pack the annual RSA Security Conference. They're selling protection in a mobile, open, and increasingly dangerous world.
We're so easy to find now, right? If you find Michael Hughes and you look, you can find me on Facebook, you can find me on LinkedIn, you can probably do a local search and figure out my address. And if you look at my LinkedIn and my Facebook, you'll find out I have 2 kids and blah, 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 blah.
You guys ready for this first question?
The big question this year, how to protect our personal devices that we bring to work and expose to a multitude of viruses.
Obviously, Apple and Android and some of the newer technologies are very attractive to consumers. They're going to buy these with their own money. They're going to bring them to work. They're going to want access to corporate email and corporate data. They're going to want access to cloud applications. And so you have this struggle.
You also have a business opportunity.
You need technology that allows you to, first of all, filter out all the bad stuff that tries to get in and steal your data. But you also need to filter the employees and the technologies that try to export or share with the world all your proprietary materials that you really don't want to have out there.
There's a lot of competition out there to keep you safe. Good news for those of us who do our computing on the go. We'll have more mobile security news later, but first, playtime. TechNow's Lauren Scott checks in with the latest high-tech way to play.
The world of portable gaming is being driven by all kinds of devices, and now Sony, with the release of the new PlayStation Vita, wanted to make sure the experience was largely about taking the game with you.
So there's a number of different things you can do. First, cross-platform play with the PlayStation 3 is something that we wanted to really focus in on from the beginning, that you can actually play a game on your PS3 against a Vita, or you can start in on your PS3 and say, you know what, I got to go to work or school and take it with you on Vita.
In regard to the games, perhaps the best of the bunch thus far are offerings like FIFA 12 from EA Sports, along with the Major League Baseball on deck with Sony's own The Show.
What's really special about Vita is you're getting all of those great features from the PS3 version on the Vita, and we have cross-platform saves. So if you play franchise, you can save that save, load it up to the server, and download on your PlayStation Vita, and take it on the road and vice versa.
As for some of the specifics with what you'll find on the Vita,
if you notice, we have the dual analog sticks here now, which is great for first-person shooters. There's rear touch, so you can control characters this way, and then the front and rear camera to be able to interact with your world. I think it provides the opportunity for young and old to be able to play the game
while taking the action on the road. With this look at mobile gaming, I'm Lawrence Scott.
Thanks, Lawrence. It's been a huge week for Apple. New products, new high in the stock price, and this preview of the company's next operating system. Apple users love their iPads and iPhones. Soon, when they use their MacBooks and iMacs, they'll work more like what they've gotten used to on their mobile devices. It's the new Apple operating system update called Mountain Lion.
So this is the first one that really takes advantage of what is now released in iCloud.
We sat down with Apple watcher Ben Beharin of Creative Strategies, who points out that what you've been seeing and downloading on your mobile devices will now go straight to your desktop as well.
It's more in that you have all of these different devices that can do computing, and what you find valuable as a consumer is that you have a similar experience across all of them.
Your apps, your messages, games, notes, and reminders all syncing to your desktop thanks to Apple's iCloud, which the company introduced with music.
I'm looking at the Beatles' One album, and I buy it. It starts downloading to my iPad, but at the same time, it also downloads to my iPhone, and it downloads to iTunes on my Mac and PC. There's no syncing. It's that simple.
But now the cloud is everywhere.
And it's that experience that I think is now sort of really reshaping kind of how personal computing as its whole is now moving forward in the future.
A future where all your devices are linked, one touch, and one download at a time. Apple also in the news for something not so positive, privacy violations. A report that Google was able to get past security settings on Apple devices to see your personal information sent Silicon Valley buzzing. 10 Tens of millions of people carry iPhones and iPads, many of them set privacy settings to stay as anonymous as possible.
First, we're seeing private browsing.
Jay Chaudhry is showing us how Google got around those privacy settings.
My browsing should be private. I should not be tracked.
Chaudhry is the CEO of Zscaler, a web security company. He says Google found a way to pass over Apple's privacy settings in order to get your information and better target their ads.
I think in this case, Google is being too aggressive, trying to make their ads more targeted, even for folks who don't want to share information.
We reached out to Google for comment. The company wouldn't talk on camera, but released a statement saying they created a temporary link between Apple's browsers and Google's servers, a link that did not collect personal information, a link that has now been disabled. But that's not the only recent security dust-up. Zscaler also showed us how social network Path and other companies collected iPhone users' address books without asking permission.
These guys were taking your local address book from your mobile phone and storing it on their servers without asking for you that you want your address book to go there.
Thereby getting all the names, numbers, and addresses. The best way to protect yourself, use the privacy settings when you can, and hope no one figures out how to bypass them.
User can really set those two things. Beyond that, in a situation like this, a consumer couldn't do anything.
All right, we love entrepreneurs on this show. This week, we find a former hip-hop writer who's using his Silicon Valley experience to dress things up. Tech Now's Cheryl Hurd explains.
I'm telling you, man, so many good things come from cold calls. You know?
Adisa Benjuko doesn't design or make suits.
Break it down.
He's the marketing genius behind a new online company called Naked Suits by Albert Ming.
It's made to be breathable. You see we have, the little sweat pads there because, we want the people who wear naked suits to feel comfortable.
Comfortable with the suit and the man behind the new retail line of high-end business wear that's even waterproof. Benjuko used to be a writer for a hip-hop magazine, and then he switched careers, working in various positions for startup tech companies, and then he discovered online retail, thanks to company founder Albert Shi.
He's definitely not over the top. He definitely has a little bit of swagger that I think he brings a little bit of extra panache to the team.
That may sound like a storybook ending for a guy with a new gig and a promising company. But Benjuko's story is not that simple. He struggled to find a job when the economy suffered in 2009. He even took a job as a security guard to feed his young family. Even though the company's headquarters is the size of a walk-in closet, it's where dreams are becoming a reality for Benjuko.
It would all come down to the degree. We love you, but you didn't come from Stanford. We love you, but you didn't come from Berkeley or Harvard or wherever. And I didn't. I'm a self-taught kind of guy.
A guy who says he doesn't dwell on the color of his skin. His focus is education.
For anybody who's African American who is looking at the tech world, I would say, one, study all day and night.
And that, he says, spells success.
Well, I think the biggest thing about entrepreneurship is actually taking massive risks.
Speaking of entrepreneurs, that's Jack Dorsey, Silicon Valley entrepreneur extraordinaire, speaking to young people through the Build website about business. Build helps young people get into the business world. What better role model than the man who co-founded both Twitter and Square?
Stay with us. After the break, we hit the mat with a new video game and get behind the wheel at a new high-tech automotive testing ground.
Welcome back. We're talking games, and we begin with the latest high-tech way to take to the mat. Tech Now's Lauren Scott has our review of UFC Undefeated.
The global popularity of mixed martial arts has grown in large part due to the aggressive approach to marketing by the sport's top promotion. the UFC. This extends to a variety of social media initiatives and other efforts in the digital realm, including video games. And now entering the octagon for its third round of action is UFC Undisputed 3 from THQ, which builds on the previous 2 editions by continuing with excellent fight mechanics, and this time out offering up a feature where you can wage battle in Japan's legendary promotion of yesteryear, the Pride Fighting Championships. Hardcore fans of MMA will enjoy playing the role of Joe Silva and Dana White and making the matches that fight fans would love to see in real life. That's where the game truly shines. And since it straddles the line of a sports title that rests primarily in the fighting genre, the game should no doubt appeal to a wider array of gamers who may just be getting acclimated to MMA and its strategies. The roster of fighters, mostly active but with some legends thrown in, is impressive, and the consideration given to the presentation runs true to any given UFC telecast. The Undisputed series has set the standard for mixed martial arts in video games, and delivers once again with attention to detail and captivating action. On the game console, I'm Lawrence Scott.
Thanks, Lawrence. Technology companies, not to mention our universities, are magnets for companies all over the world. Now car companies are coming to Silicon Valley to make your ride smoother and safer. As the virtual road rushes by, Volkswagen engineers are collecting data on how to make your driving experience better. Welcome to the Electronic Research Lab, owned by Volkswagen, part of the car industry's way to marry automotive engineering and technology.
To have projects with the leading universities around here and with the major companies around here.
Major companies like Google. Google Earth made it into the new Audi GPS systems after being tested in this Silicon Valley lab. Leading universities like Stanford. That's where these VW Research Lab interns who built this solar race car go to school.
I think a large reason why I was drawn to this project and other members on the team was that love for vehicles and technology at the same time.
It's here at the ERL where vehicles and technology come together. Even the meeting tables are cool. VW, Audi, Ford on the way with its own lab. You can call this the high-tech version of Motor City.
And as you know, we have lots of software in the cars by now. We have lots of electronics in the cars. And so we have to know about all the innovations that are going on in the Silicon Valley.
From electric cars to solar cars to cars that drive themselves. This is where you want to be if you want to drive into the future.
Being able to sit in a traffic jam, let go of the steering wheel, and have the car carry you through in the times where you don't want to drive.
Getting a grip on what's coming up around the bend.
There's more to come on Tech Now. We'll take you back to the giant Silicon Valley security show where we ask, your pad or mine? And how's this for the digital reading revolution? Not e-books, but a robot to get you your books. Stay with us.
Welcome back. We are bringing you back to the gigantic RSA Security Conference. Just about everyone here is so serious about security. We found some people having a little fun with it. Jack Marcel is with Force Scout, Silicon Valley Security Company. I like the tie. I like the hippie theme. Can we have some fun with security?
We sure can. The theme of our booth today at RSA is your pad or mine.
I like that.
It evokes the iPads that everybody owns, and people are bringing them into the workplace. And IT security managers are a little bit uncomfortable with that.
Is it because we are bringing in our own devices that they're uncomfortable? Is that a risk?
Exactly right. Anything that the organization doesn't control, if it's an unknown, it could be a risk.
And yet, we are all doing not only our personal information and banking and apping and all that stuff on our mobile phones, but many of us are doing business. How do we protect ourselves and our companies from that?
Right. Well, you get a security system that can control the iPad. With a product like ours, an IT security manager can know whether you have a password, whether your iPad is secure enough, can actually control the configuration of the iPad.
So are you telling businesses to tell consumers, don't bring your stuff to work, or okay, bring it to work, but make sure it's secure?
Well, it's the employees. Right. So yes, our customers can tell their employees, you can bring your device onto premises and use it it for business, but we need to look at it and we need to monitor it and we need to ultimately be able to, for example, encrypt it or wipe the data if you lose it.
So it can be my pad or yours as long as it's kept safe.
That's correct.
With your software, perhaps.
That's right.
All right. Four Scout from Silicon Valley. Jack, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Tech Now will be right back. We end this week with a uniquely Silicon Valley kind of a library. Fewer shelves, the same amount of books, and a robot. Here's Tech Now's Tracy Graham.
I've never seen a shelf of books.
San Francisco State University student Emily Ballston doesn't realize it, but just a few feet from where she's standing, the majority of the books are stored. It looks like a corridor of the Death Star. But it's the brand new campus library, featuring a high-tech library retrieval system.
You'll deposit this, same place. That's never random.
The numbered books go into bins, bins go into boxes, and boxes are loaded robotically and sent speeding into this cavernous storage space. Students must go online to order a particular book using an Amazon.com-like search system that displays a book's cover art, table of contents, and reviews. In the middle of the fancy new furniture and study areas, shelves still exist at the SFSU library, but just 25% of the books are on display, only the most recently acquired and most popular.
I'm a literature student, so I kind of like to see what there is on the shelves and compare different titles of books.
That has been the biggest critique. Taking away the ability to physically browse the shelves also takes away the ability to run across books you didn't even know you wanted. But librarian Debbie Masters says there simply isn't room to stack books the old-fashioned way anymore, and California State Universities now require better library storage systems.
We very much recognize that people value that experience and we want them to have that experience. We can't give it to them entirely physically, so we're going to give it to them partly digitally.
I'm too old. I like books on the shelf.
Even the man responsible for coordinating shelving facilities at the library has reservations. But Harley Keys says this robotic system is the best way to hang on to items the library might not have been able to make room for before.
Thanks, Tracy. And with that, we close the book on this week's episode of Tech Now. Thanks for watching. We hope to see you back here again next week.